Ordered, I'm running for president.
Growing up on a peanut farm in a home with no running water or electricity, he would forge his own path, an outsider determined to take on a corrupt Washington and to try to turn the page.
I say to you quite frankly that the time for racial discrimination is over.
His path to the presidency began in Plains, valedictorian of his high school, graduate of the Naval Academy, and after running the family business, he would turn to politics. In 1970, Carter was elected governor, but so unknown nationally, when he came onto the game show What's My Line, no one knew who he was.
Is this anything to do with the world of fashion?
No. 2 down, 8 to go, Donna.
Nobody even knew who he was. I mean, that's who he was. Unassuming, just an interesting character. A guy whose life we'd all sign up for today, by the way. 100 years? Bell and I were talking about that earlier. Like, 100 years? Sign me up, right?
You cannot complain when you had a really, really good run like that.
It's interesting because everybody's talking about, like, because people are already hammering him and, oh, he was this, he was a lot of stuff. And he readily admit he wasn't a great president. He struggled. We can go on to the, obviously, Iran was a big deal, the oil embargo, Moscow, and the boycotting of the Olympics. We can go on. And, of course, the thing that really draws a comparison is Operation Eagle Claw. If you guys don't know what that is the beginning of the end of him as a politician, because he greenlit, we're going to go save all of as many as we can get out. We're going to go save them in Iran. And there was a massive sandstorm. We lost 8 of our people. Helicopters crashed. It was a nightmare.
And for anybody too young to remember this, during Carter's presidency, the Ayatollah allowed college students from Iran to invade and take over our embassy.
Yeah.
And how many, they held them for?
444 days.
That's right. Because it was as soon as Reagan was sworn into office as president, they were on a plane and out of there.
Yeah. They were not thrilled by the potential of Reagan, because they knew Reagan was he was something different. I remember watching
that cowboy's going bomb us.
One of the hostages said, they're like, "Hey, Jimmy Carter's out. We won," kind of stuff. And they go, "Who won?" And they go, "Reagan." And he goes, and they kind of looked around and, "Are you kidding me?"
That'll deflate you.
Yeah. And look, the interesting thing is, so many of these young kids, they didn't plan on holding these people for this long. This also gave us Dateline with Ted Koppel. That's how Dateline started, was the hostages. And that's how Dateline, or Nightline, that's how Nightline started, was the hostage thing. But I remember as a kid waking up, and every day it would be like day 7 of hostages, day 33 on the front page of the paper, day 87. And, you're like 9 years old. You're trying to come to grips with what the hell is happening over there. Who are these people that hate us so much? And why do they hate us? And there's a lot to it, but the reality is, it was this was all him. I mean, this thing, he allowed. There was so many things that he did that happened under his watch that got sideways and squirrely. But once Operation Eagle Claw happened, everything went to hell in a handbasket, and he never recovered. And then the oil embargo and the oil nightmare. I was listening to Chris and Ken talk about it. I remember as a kid going, okay, what's the end of our license plate? Because if it's an odd, we can only go like Monday and Wednesdays. If it's an even, we can go Tuesdays and Thursdays. If it's a letter, you can go like, Mondays and Saturdays. It was so bizarre the way that they did it. But that's where we were. And again, this guy was great afterwards. And he lives, you know what? He talked about the fact that it was his wife. 77 years they were married. Think about that. 77 years is a long time to spend with one human being. He wanted to wait around, though. He wanted to do everything he could to vote for Kamala, and he did. It was so bad it killed him.
The inaugural, not exactly the exit you want to have as your last vote being a losing one.
What's his name? Today on the Babylon Bee said, it was one of their headlines that said, It said Jimmy Carter has confirmed he will not be coming to the inauguration.
That's terrible.
What's terrible? Like, what, you know, like, I've always said this, and great comedy does this. Tragedy plus time equals comedy. But he lived 100 years. This wasn't like, oh, it's a tragedy. He was taken out at the end of his life with so much to live for. Yet, no. He wanted to go. He was ready. He wanted to get through this, and he did, and he moved on.
Inauguration Day, he and the First Lady would leave the limo behind. They wanted to walk the parade.
And this is more like it was in the old days.
The time had come to sign the peace.
Human rights would drive his foreign policy. He helped forge an historic peace agreement between Israel and Egypt, which still stands today.
I'm so proud of both of you. God bless you, Mr.
Got the president of Egypt killed, but whatever.
That would have been his legacy if it hadn't have been for Eagle Claw.
Yeah, yeah. And the whole, I mean, there was so much that, you know, rampant inflation. Not everybody's up for the task. Like, some people freeze. Some people just, they don't do well in the limelight. And when things happen, pressure happens, he was slow to react. And when he did react, it was bad. He made the wrong choices at the wrong time. Outside, and you can look at Biden. I mean, you go draw that parallel between Afghanistan and Eagle Claw. Dude, it is 100%. Because Biden's approval rating was actually above 50. And then that happened, and it cratered, and he never got it back. He never got it back. And then afterwards, obviously, he left, and he changed everything. He became a person of the people. He became a person who cared about everybody. He was as real as you could get. He was overmatched in so many ways, I think, in politics on the biggest stage. But he was so real as a human being. And the things he did for Habitat for Humanity, Nobel Peace Prize, to wipe out, I think it was the guinea worm, was this worm that affects about 4 million people. He wanted to eradicate it. It doesn't kill you, but you're going to wish you died, kind of thing. Trust me, you're going to, like, I was reading about it. I was like, oh, my God. It's like one of those, the worst things ever. But he was an upstanding human being. And, you know, Trump and Melania, they sent out an amazing thing, and all the presidents up there talking about him that are still alive, and the people that knew him, including Biden. It was fine. It was everything he needed. No, he didn't like Trump and his attitude. But you know what he did do, which I don't hear a lot of people talking about? He offered, on behalf of Trump, to go negotiate in North Korea and to do a couple things. Because he was, first and foremost, he was a Christian man, but he was an American. And he was, again, a different character. And everybody's like, is this a big deal or not? I said, well, no, not the death of, you know, if he was 52, this would have been a totally different story. But he's not. He was 100. I mean, he's older than the guy that's president now, who's not all there, by the way. So much stuff to talk about today. A lot of things. More on Jimmy Carter, just because it was a fascinating life. I mean, you know, he was the first president to be born in a hospital. He was the first president to use a nickname when he was sworn in. His real name's James. I mean, this was a guy he did a lot of firsts. And he championed alternative energies. He did a lot of different stuff that you know, was... Today, we like, oh, my God, like solar power and all that stuff. He was a big proponent of those things. And he did say one of the things that I always thought was one of the great things ever. The new president said, California is the petri dish of crazy. Such, right? Like, they're the ones who are, because he was a Democrat, but he was a conservative Democrat. He was, right, and for those of you, he struggled with abortion in a major way. He struggled with abortion big time. Struggle with abortion. He came around to same-sex marriage, but the abortion thing he struggled with his entire life because of his belief of life, because of who he was. But I think he'll be remembered not as a president. I think he'll be remembered as an American that was a great human being, as I think he should be. Again, don't have to like his politics, but we can salute him for what he did. I think that's a fair thing to do. Bunch of stuff, like I said, to get to today. And then, of course, starting Thursday, man, we got so much stuff. Working on a bunch of stuff this weekend. Show's going to be different. So if you're new, my name's Chad Benson. I'm on noon till 3 every single day. Matt's moved from 3 till 7. But we got a lot of stuff. Fast-moving show. Appreciate it when you text me. People say you don't take phone calls. My other show that I've done for years, I've never taken a phone call, mostly because I go so fast. We're going to go through a lot of stuff. And it's one of those things where I also, as well as Bell, we're going to reach out. You reach out to me via text, whatever it is, I'm going to get back to you as much as I possibly can. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Check out my YouTube and all the other things because we do a bunch of different things. But we're going to have a lot of fun. And that's the most important thing. Politics, absolutely pop culture, fun, wackiness, real life stuff as we talk about here. And I look forward to 2025. Big stuff. Are you guys doing anything for the, are you doing anything on the night? Which is tomorrow night, right?
Yeah. No, I don't do amateur hour, man. I run with the big dogs.
I don't do it. It is tough to get out there, dude. I tell you what, it is. I don't drink. I've never had a drink in my life. I've never done a drug. I've never smoked a cigarette. I'm pretty much a teetotaler. I just refuse. First of all, it's going to be, what did I hear you say, Ken? There's going to be like 200,000 people out and about?
200,000.
No, thank you.
That includes Ken, though.
No. There's no way. There's just no way I would ever even think about that. And as you get older, you guys recognize this. Parking is my number one issue. Like, what's parking like?
Yeah. Now, see, there was a time in my life when, I never got tired and I never got annoyed, and I would have been right there in the middle of everybody.
Yeah. And you know what they called that time?
In your 20s?
Your youth.
Yeah, your youth.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my goodness. So we're so...
You try to get in there now, and they're going to be like, not with that beard, sir.
You're not too old. You're just too old to be in the club.
Exactly.
Like, that's one of those things. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to try to squeeze it all in, including New Year's resolutions, a bunch of other stuff. How do you keep those things? Why is the second Friday in the new year called Quitting Friday? We'll talk about that as well. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com/Chad. You can go there right now and get a free Jumpstart trial bag of the best thing I've ever done for my animals. So Rough Greens is a powdered supplement. It's got probiotics, enzymes, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff, and then some power-packed into supplements for your cats, Meow Greens, and for your dogs, Rough Greens. You sprinkle on top of their food. For our older dogs, it was amazing to see what it did for their aches and pains in their joints. For our younger dogs, it kept up their energy and helped with their coat. For our cats, it's been incredible for their teeth and their gums, but for their fur and allergies. If you love your animals like I love my animals, I want you to try a Jumpstart trial bag for free today. It's a $20 value. All they ask you to do is cover the cost of shipping. ruffgreens.com. Use my code Chad. ruffgreens.com. Use code Chad. A $20 value, absolutely free. Jumpstart trial bag, whether for your cat, Meow Greens, or for your dog, Rough Greens. ruffgreens.com. Use code Chad.
Looks like we've got some shopping delays out there near Two Rivers, Briley Parkway, northbound off-ramp to Opry Mills. That's the usual suspect there. President-elect Trump urging Republicans to keep Mike Johnson on as Speaker of the House. That story and more at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We should note that there are tens of thousands of bird strikes in the United States on aircraft, many of them into the engines. These airplanes can fly on one engine. Now we need to understand through the black boxes why these pilots, oilers, or reverse thrusters to slow down the plane.
Yes, that'll happen. People hear hit planes. That happens a lot. And most of these things now with these engines, the way that they test them is they'll take a frozen turkey and they'll shoot it like a cannon, like straight into some of these things to show you that it can withstand some of that. But it's not always perfect. And the reality, you can see a puff of smoke and boom, down it went. The question is, okay, that's one engine. What the hell happened, guys? You had one engine. You didn't bring down your you didn't bring down your gear at all, your landing gear. So what's that all about? And why did you land halfway up the runway? Why did you guys come down?
There were two survivors. Both of them were flight attendants, a woman and a man, and they were sitting in the back of the airplane, which means they were near the tail. They were in their jump seats. They had their harness-style seatbelts on that went across their shoulders and across their laps, and their backs were facing the passengers. And if you look at the wreckage, the only part that is recognizable is the tail where they were sitting.
They always say sit in the back. Right, like that's the place. But you're watching this and you think you hit the ground, it's okay, right? We've hit the ground. We're going to just slowly go into some force. And there was a big, giant wall. And boom. And that thing went up fast. It did. So those people didn't die on impact, which is terrifying to think because, you're at 30,000 feet, something happens. There's a reason that people are terrified to fly because there's no pulling over. Like if a car has an issue, you pull over. There isn't that. So what happened is the question of did it do something to the electrical that caused a massive malfunction where all they had was the little rudders or was this just bad piloting? Because then you go and you see the plane that was shot down in Russia. Yes, I know we shot down shit. Sorry about that. It was crazy. We shoot it down. Apologize again for the shooting down. That dude landed the plane. And by the way, this wasn't a modern Boeing plane he landed, right? Like this is one of those things where you watch a movie and this guy's like, I put duct tape on it. Should be fine. We fly high. It'll be okay. He landed that plane. Half those people survived. Which is crazy. But this is, because they come in threes. But as we talked about on Friday, now the number one thing that kills passengers is missiles. Because we haven't had one for a long time. When you think about the Boeing stuff that happened with the MAX, that was just bad piloting. On top of the fact that Boeing, not only did they get to investigate themselves, make sure that everything was okay, you didn't teach these people how to fly something that, this stuff's all run on software. It's crazy. And that was an issue. And now the NTSB is going to go over and help with this because not only why did you come down, you had that much fuel, why did you not dump fuel? These are all questions that are going to be asked in the next couple days. But yes, they hit birds a lot. And it's scary to think that happens and that could bring a plane down. But I have a feeling that we'll find out there's more to it than just this. My name's Chad Benson. A lot of stuff still to get to. Some of your text messages coming up. High school literacy. Should it be taught when it comes to finances? It's a big deal. I think it absolutely should be taught 100%. We've got some social media bans happening across the country, including our state. What's going on here in Tennessee? That I find to be very interesting, as well as we try to maybe go on the path that they're seeing in Australia. How does that even work as the lawsuits come in? Bunch of other stuff to get to. This is the Chad Benson Show at Super Talk 99.7.
12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And President-elect Trump is urging Republicans to keep Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. Mary Alice Parks reports voting starts this week after they're all sworn in, and Johnson can't afford to lose more than one or two Republican votes.
He will take all the help that he can get. It was obviously a big endorsement for him, like you said, the president-elect saying he's a good man, a hardworking man, and then going on to say, let's not blow this big opportunity. Trump is worried that a big speaker fight could really slow down his agenda.
Here in Nashville, Metro Police say a woman was trying to warn other motorists of a crash blocking the right lane of I-40 at Old Hickory Boulevard last night when she was run over and killed. 64-year-old Arbedelia Richardson was waving a flashlight when it happened. The driver who hit Richardson said he didn't see her until it was too late. Police said there did not appear to be any impairment involved at the scene. And the Beacon Center has filed a class action lawsuit against Nashville. It claims Metro's charging homeowners too much for stormwater capacity fees in an attempt to skirt its responsibility for infrastructure. The lawsuit seeks a refund for every homeowner ever charged this fee when they wanted to add on or improve their property. And with less than 24 hours to go until Times Square in New York City will be packed with visitors and partygoers to ring in 2025, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says they'll have additional officers, canines, helicopters, boats, and drones to monitor for safety.
The public can expect to see a tremendous amount of police resources deployed throughout the area and across the city.
Here in Nashville, 200,000 people are expected to watch as the famed Red Music Note will be dropped at Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park during Jack Daniels New Year's Eve Live, Nashville's Big Bash. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Careful out there tomorrow night. Most nights, don't drink and drive. Can I just throw this here, a little caveat? Don't do it. It is the dumbest thing in the world. It is the easiest thing to avoid. It is something that is just, we have so many ways for you to get home.
If you can afford to go out and have drinks, and you can afford to go out to dinner, you can afford to buy a ticket to a New Year's Eve Christmas party, you can afford an Uber.
Absolutely. Don't be a hero. Just don't. I'm going to tell you guys this. So, 2 years ago, a friend of mine, when I moved out to Arizona, it's a wonderful woman. She was the first salesperson once I came out there and everything was kind of quiet, kind of like it was here. And she was amazing. It was Dawn. Just the life, bubbly, amazing. Her and her husband, 2 twins, a little bit older, but, they're teens, but were going out on New Year's Eve. They knew they were going to have a few pops. They said, let's take an Uber, because they also didn't want to park. They got hit in the Uber by a drunk driver at like 8 o'clock in the evening. She was killed instantly. And his life was essentially destroyed. Shattered both of his legs. Of course, nothing ever happens to the person driving, very rarely. The guy that was the Uber driver, he was like, his arms were shattered and he was a hot mess. And I tell everybody, it's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, talk about preventing something. So if you're going to go out tomorrow night and there's going to be plenty of people, play it smart. It's not a hard thing to do. It isn't. And some of you listening have done stupid things and you've made mistakes, don't do it. Just don't do it, because you change the lives of people, including your own life. Don't do it. There you go. It's my PSA of the day. Financial literacy should be taught. Absolutely, 100%. We're one of the states that require it, which is really cool. More and more states are starting to head towards that, and we need more states because it's a smart thing. We don't teach the things we need to teach. We're still teaching old ways in a lot of different things, and we need a revamp of the way that we teach kids in this country in a lot of different ways. But financial literacy is an absolute must.
What all do you have in here?
So we sell sneakers, we buy, sell, and trade.
22-year-old college senior Norris Willifer doesn't just work at MBM Kicks in downtown Richmond.
Hey, go, boss.
He owns it.
Where did you learn how to open a business at such a young age?
Ms. Hare was one of my biggest influences. She taught me a financial literacy class.
Good afternoon.
That class Ms. Hare teaches isn't a college course.
It's called inflation.
This is high school. Charlotte Hare teaches at Richmond Community High in Virginia, where the course is required for graduation.
How important is financial literacy?
I unashamedly tell my students that this is the most important course they will take.
Think about that. The most important course that you're going to take, and in a lot of states, I mean, thank God not ours, but in a lot of states, is this, because these kids know nothing about finances. They know nothing about anything. Some of them come from broken homes. Some of them come homes with a lot of money. Some of them come homes with, just all kinds of issues. And some of them come from, your parents may teach it. But this is beyond important. And it's the little things in life. And that's what I tell my kids. Look at the things in life that you think I'm going to need. Belle and I, you and I were talking about the other day. The whole thing about, school. We were talking about with Kennedy, Chris's daughter, about, taking a typing class.
Mm-hmm.
How valuable. Yeah. But when you and I probably took it way back in the day, we think, what are we going to do with it?
I literally took it because I needed a elective credit, and I thought, what the hell? It's not going to mean anything. Just take it. Take the easy B or C or whatever I'm going to get, and then just move on. That typing class has proved immensely valuable, probably more so than anything else in school except math.
It's true. And this right here is the same way. Teaching people about credit scores, teaching people about investing, teaching people about certain things in life. Savings is huge, right? Like living within your means. Little things, how the economy works. All of these things matter.
Investing, budgeting, Bitcoin.
Anything that deals with money. We talk about scams, we talk about insurance, we talk about planning, decision making, budgeting, checking accounts, investing, saving. We cover it all.
You even teach your students how to write checks. Do they look at you like you have three heads when you come up with that?
They look at me like I fell off a wagon and I've taken them all the way back to the dark ages.
85% of high schoolers nationwide say they want to learn about financial topics. Only 10 states require the course, but by 2031, that's expected to jump to 26.
As it should. It's these little things that you don't realize will have. There are some things you learn for educational purposes. We're here for education. We're learning stuff. There are things that you learn for life. This is one of those life things. You're not probably going to take the English lit classes that you took to do something, to go out there and actually do anything, but you are going to take this stuff because this is life and it transfers to life. Am I correct or am I correct?
You're very correct. I mean, it doesn't just transfer to life. It is life. It's
life.
part of what you've got to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's the
to
economy.
be successful as an individual and a person. I mean, we love to talk about business success, but individual success comes from that same kind of work ethic.
I always tell when we used to get interns, I used to tell them, let me tell you what you don't do. Don't get anybody pregnant. Don't get pregnant. Finish high school. Take a couple years, figure out what you want to do with your life before you wander off into college and spend $50,000 to find out you don't want to do whatever it is you just got a degree for. And follow these simple steps like go and get married one day, then have a kid. Little things like that will make you successful. Oh, and by the way, maybe the most important besides all that, show up every day. You have no idea how important that is. My mom used to tell me that always. Always remember, Chad, show up.
Dependability.
Huge.
It's like 90% of it.
Yeah. Why are you here? Because I was the only one that showed up. Right? Like that's
so true, man.
Like Bell, you were talking about you got that job as a like a marketing analyst thing, and that's how you got into radio because you were the one who showed up.
I was doing call out research, and I literally I called the request line at KDF, asked David Hall, one of the big names over there, when he was on the air. I'm like, can I get a job in the research department? And he's like, do you really want one? It's like, yeah, absolutely. And he goes, be down here at 4:45, and he hung up on me.
But you showed up.
I went down there at 4:45 and got a job at KDF.
That's it. Man, it is so easy. I tell my kids, get there 5-10 minutes before, stay a little bit later, work a little bit harder, make yourself likable, follow a few steps in life, and these things are going to pay off like you cannot believe.
They're on the brink of adulthood.
John Pelletier has been tracking the number of states requiring high school finance courses for more than a decade.
They're entering that phase of life where not a day will go by where they don't think about money, how to make it, how to save it, how to spend it.
Students who take these classes learn more than just how to budget their money at the mall. Studies show requiring financial education improves credit scores, lowers loan delinquency rates, and reduces the likelihood of falling behind on credit card payments.
If a young person understands how to maximize their credit score, so they get lower interest rates on credit cards, on automobile loans, on their mortgages, that could literally save them more than $100,000 in lifetime interest payments.
It's just interest payments on things like cars, on things like credit cards. I mean, it's so simple, and yet we make it so hard. And we don't teach the things we need to teach because we've got too many people who are in unions that push things that don't need to be out there. Somewhere along the line, we've decided that school is not only the most important thing you're ever going to do, but you've got to follow these steps, and these steps don't translate to real life.
Yeah, it's also amazing the way that, especially on the federal level, coming through the Department of Education, the feds don't want you to know this stuff.
No.
The feds don't want you financially educated. The feds don't want you knowing how to save and invest your money because then you're not as dependent on them.
Yeah, well, that's the truth. And that's what they want. And everybody wants to be... Everybody in government, whether you're on the right or left, wants you in some way, shape, or form dependent. And the goal should for you to be dependent on nothing outside of the things like war, immigration, things like that. right? Because you're not starting a war. You may have to defend yourself one day, but you're not starting a war. You're not going to be in charge of immigration. But these little things. My little brother, I wish I was where my little brother is. My little brother's like 25, so he's a hockey coach. He got into the minors, but he had so many, Dane Bramage, he just was too many concussions. Last one, was horrific. So he works for the Anaheim Ducks. He coaches for the Anaheim Ducks and runs all of their, youth programs. He coaches, big teams that are youth teams. And he said to me, because I said to him, I said, dude, you're killing it. Now, mind you, he's got a high school education, which, by the way, my mother had to finish for him. My mom was like, I got a B. I got a B in one of his classes because, see, it was crazy. So we were chatting one day about 2 years ago, and he goes, you know what I'm going to do, Chad? I said, what? He goes, I've got all this money. I'm saving. He goes, I'm talking to all the dads because to play on these teams, it's ridiculously expensive. And where the level that they're at AAA, which is the highest you can go. These kids are some of them are 12 and 13. They're traveling all over the country. They're basically, hockey's a full-time career for them at this point. But he said, I started going to these dads and asking them, what did you do to become rich? What did you do to become rich? How did you become rich? And he goes, you know, it's great. They started talking to me about it. He goes, so now here he is, 25. He's got $150,000 in the market because one of the dads built him a thing that helps him with the investing. And he goes, I just give him all my money and this thing invests for me. He just bought a Tesla cash because he traded his other one in and put $11,000 in because he paid his other Tesla off in the space of about 6 months. But he learned stuff. He goes, I learned none of this stuff in school. None of it. We care about the future. We need to teach the things that matter on a day-to-day basis, not this stuff that is so ridiculous. That's why I keep saying the other day about college. If it was me in college and I was running colleges, if you want to get a degree in gender studies, in the humanities, and any of these things that are useless, that aren't going to really do anything for society, that are for a fringe few, that's going to cost you. If you want to get a degree in stuff that matters, that we need, we should be pushing towards that, and we should be making that kind of stuff free.
16-year-old junior Mahogany Rogers is taking Miss Hayer's class now.
Are you a saver or a spender?
A spender.
A spender.
I have to be honest.
She's also started her own business, doing her classmates' hair, but she thinks the class should be required for all students, budding entrepreneurs or not.
This class, she kind of teaches us how to get into the mindset of you don't always have to buy something that you want. It's more about what you need.
Would you have been able to start this business without having a financial literacy class in high school?
Definitely not.
A valuable class helping students earn dividends for years to come.
That, like she said, a small class like that, that's probably a semester or two, is going to teach them more than anything they're going to learn as far as real life application. It's great to learn math. It's great to learn all those things. But the real life application of what that's going to do should be taught everywhere. And it not only should be taught, it should be mandatory. 100%. My name's Chad Benson. A lot of stuff to get to still, including Chessgate. What happened to the greatest chess player in the world? Why did he drop out of a tournament recently? If you don't know who Magnus is, he's a trip. But he dropped out of something because of what he was wearing. Talk about that. Bunch of other stuff still to get to. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. MyPillow, made right here in the USA. Deep discounts on all the MyPillow products, including things like the slippers, the sandals, the MyPillow Classic, just $14.88. You name it, they've got it. 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. This is a great opportunity to take advantage of all of the deep discounts as we head into New Year. And I tell everybody this, sleep is so important. And you're going to spend a lot of time in bed in life. So why not make it worth your while? This classic MyPillow is only $14.88. You get 10 of these. They are going to help you in ways you cannot believe. It is incredible. But check out the slippers, the sandals, the incredible mattress topper, which is my favorite thing that I've gotten from them. You will love all of the products that MyPillow has and delivers to you. 60 money back guarantee, 10-year warranty. Go to mypillow.com/Benson. Use that code Benson. $14.88, lowest price ever for the MyPillow. Go to mypillow.com/Benson today.
Voting is later this week, and President-elect Trump is urging Republicans to retain Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. And Metro Nashville targeted in a class action lawsuit seeking to give homeowners some money back. We'll tell you about it at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Does being the king of chess mean that you can ditch the formal wear? Well, not if you're wearing jeans, according to the World Rapid and Blitz Chess Championships. Chess pro Magnus Carlsen was fined $200 for the casual look at the competition in New York last week, but after quitting the tournament on Friday in protest of the fine, chess officials relaxed the rules, now saying they'll accept elegant minor deviations from the dress code.
Yeah, a little late. If you guys don't know who Magnus is and you're fascinated by chess, this guy he's the king of chess, maybe the greatest of all time.
Hey. You don't say that about Bobby Fischer in my presence.
Well, anti-Semitic Bobby. Is he still in Iceland? Whatever happened to that guy?
I think he is, actually.
Remember that? That guy was a trip.
Oh, that guy was weird.
Yeah, he was weird. But Magnus is hilarious. So I'll watch him do stuff. And I mean, this guy, he'll just show up like 5 minutes after the game's supposed to start, frustrating everybody. He'll sit down, he gets everything ready, and then within 2 minutes, he's beat you because he's 83 steps ahead of you, and then he walks away, he shakes your hand. He's an odd bird, but he showed up in jeans. You know, you can't do that, apparently. But then they changed the rules after he quit. Like, that's the power this guy has. He's got a big dome.
The dress code means nothing compared to having him in the tournament because people want to see him play.
I know. I mean, and it's funny because I play a little chess, not much. But it is fascinating to watch him. And he's one of those guys that, you know, for fun, he'll play like 15 guys at once and just smoke them all. Like, he's that kind of...
I got to see this.
And he'll get bored with it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Like, he's just an odd bird, but he's, you know, and he never brushes his hair. He just looks like he literally looks like he rolls out of bed.
Hey. You got no right to be talking. You don't brush your hair.
No, I don't. I don't have hair. Although... I could grow it if I wanted to. I just don't want to because it is so much easier to do like this. My hair was not as long as yours because it's too thick and it gets crazy. I get dreads easy, though. I had dreads when I was a kid.
Hey, I flat ironed this. It's a mess otherwise.
Flat iron your hair. Got the curlers rolling deep in it. My name's Chad Benson. Follow me at Chad Benson Show on Twitter, Instagram as well. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Voting is later this week, and President-elect Trump is urging Republicans in the House to retain Mike Johnson as Speaker. Here's Mary Alice Parks, who says Johnson can afford to lose only 1 or 2 Republican votes.
Trump is worried that a big speaker fight could really slow down his agenda that he wants to put forward in Washington, could really curtail and stop the House from being able to even get underway, potentially even stop them from being able to certify his election win. So he wants this settled and done and wants Johnson in there.
Johnson faced pushback from members of his own party over his leadership during the recent government shutdown fight. He thanked Trump for his endorsement on X, posting, "I'm honored and humbled by your support as always. Together, we will quickly deliver on your America First agenda and usher in the new golden age of America." Here in Nashville, Metro targeted in a class action lawsuit that seeks to give homeowners some money back. The Beacon Center accusing Metro of taking advantage of homeowners to pay for infrastructure by charging stormwater capacity fees when they want to add on or make other improvements to their homes. The lawsuit seeks to force Nashville to refund everyone who had to pay those stormwater capacity fees. A woman is dead after trying to warn others about a crash blocking the right lane of I-40 at Old Hickory Boulevard last night. Metro Police say 64-year-old Arbedelia Richardson died on the scene. She was run over while waving a flashlight. The driver told police he didn't see her until it was too late. Police say there did not appear to be any impairment involved there at the scene. With less than 24 hours to go until Times Square in New York City will be packed with visitors and partygoers to ring in 2025, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says they're going to roll out canine teams, boats, drones, helicopter teams, and dozens of uniformed and plainclothes officers for security.
No one handles large-scale events like this better than the NYPD.
Here in Nashville, 200,000 people expected to watch as the famed Red Music Note will be dropped at Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park during Jack Daniel's New Year's Eve Live, Nashville's Big Bash. And many are thinking about their New Year's resolutions to take into 2025, whether it be about health, career, family, or personal milestones. Neurologist Dr. Leah Kroll says vision boards could be helpful for those looking to see what they want their next year to look like.
The process of going through and making a vision board is so helpful when it comes to really focusing on what your goals are. What do I want that end goal to really look like for me? What do I want my life to look like 1 year from now?
Vision board, otherwise known as a mirror. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Yeah, baby. Normally it's quiet this time of year because, well, since social media and really since Trump, like politics doesn't take any time off. It's just go, 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 go. It's like it's 24/7. It's go. It's something's happening here or there. Something goes on. I mean, usually get a few things here and there, but it's that quiet time. Even in the summer, right? Like I used to be able to, mark it on a calendar, right? Between here and here, it's easy to take a vacation. Nothing's going to happen. It's just not that way anymore. This week, we're going to have maybe a little bit more controversy, which makes me laugh because the battle's already beginning in the world of Trump and MAGA. Trump likes to see how things go. He very much likes a little chaos. I always say this. I think the quiet hurts him. I think he likes stuff going on. I think the quiet hurts him. But whether or not Johnson will or won't be Speaker.
As he presides over a razor-thin GOP majority that includes a number of outspoken skeptics, you might even call them dissidents, it's by no means a sure thing that the Speaker will hold on to the gavel. But the President-elect's endorsement could help. Donald Trump says on social media that Mike Johnson is, quote, a good, hard-working, religious man who will do the right thing. Trump urges House Republicans to, quote, not blow this great opportunity which we have been given.
And that's the big issue, is if you're the Republicans, and I say this, you've got to learn how to get along. Doesn't mean you have to agree on everything. It doesn't. You're going to have to give some in the MAGA world to people who are more of a Reagan conservative in certain areas. And you're going to have to, stand pat in certain areas. But you don't have the kind of lead that you need where you can go, well, we're going to go this way because we've got 25, people, and if 15 of them fall off, we still got enough votes. You don't have that. And you don't want to be a clown and look like you can't get your house in order. You don't. Because I've heard so many about Johnson's the worst. He's this, he's that. Oh, my God, he's the all. You know what he is? He's in a horrible situation. Tell me who's going to be better. Tell me. Well, Byron Donalds. Is he? Is it going to be better? Because the minute he gets in there and he finds out he's not going to be able to get certain things passed, then all of a sudden, oh, my gosh, he's going to be bad. At some point in time, you just got to go, this is what we've got. This is what we're going to have to roll with. This is it. What about this person? What about that? This is what you got. Win more elections, and you can do a lot more things. But if you spend the first several weeks fighting over this, trying to replace the House that, not doing the things you need to do, and Trump's sitting there trying to get his agenda through, and all of a sudden he's got to just do more and more things, like more and more executive orders, which is what I want no president to do. But the reality is they end up having to do it. If that's what happens, my God, what the hell's going on? You've got the opportunity right now. You feel like you've got a mandate because the people have spoken in a way that is pretty damn important, where they said, hey, we want to give this thing a real go. No more crazy Russia stuff. No more COVID. Let's see what it would have been like without some of that. And here's your time to do something. Normally, you get one shot to do one thing. Because in politics, that's kind of what we do, right? Whether it's Obamacare, whether it's taxes, whether you get a shot. You get one, then everybody gets a little nervous and antsy, and then they flip sides and they say, oh, during the next midterm. But you've got to make sure that you have this going. You don't want to fight that is going to lead to nowhere and frustration. Because it's not going to make you look good, and you're not going to hit the ground running. And that's the whole point. We want Trump to hit the ground running. Not worried about what they're doing over there. What are they doing in the House today? Really? Still fighting? Yeah, they want to put this guy in there. Well, you put that guy in there, guess what? These guys over here, and gals, they're not really thrilled by this. The easiest thing to do in politics, and if any politician is honest about it, several of them I know that have been very honest about it to me, is saying, hey, Chad, being the party that's not in power is the easiest thing in politics. The best place to be. Remember, politicians think about first and foremost themselves, then the party, then whatever else is left over is the people. If you are in an area where you're always going to be voted in, not being in power is great. You can say what you want. You can do what you want. You never have any responsibility. Being responsible for everything now, that's the toughest part. That is the toughest part of it all. Because now you have all of the pressure to deliver. You have all of the pressure right now to deliver. And what we shouldn't see is delivering chaos with no results. Because everybody's like, well, Trump's got 4 years. No, Trump has about 18 months to get some stuff done, or otherwise they're going to vote out these Republicans and put Democrats in there and then turn them into a lame duck for the last 2 years, which you don't want. But if you show that you're going to do these things and you push through and do them as a team, and you don't have to agree on everything. You know, Matt and I were talking about this the other day. Too many people out there are all or nothing. They'd rather have 100% of nothing than 75% of something. And if you don't agree with everything, well, then you're not part of the team. And that can't, if you want to have a winning team, this is what you got to do. So we'll see. We're going to see what takes place. It's going to be interesting. There's no doubt about that. Over the weekend, Jimmy Carter passed away at 100.
He said that many people will remember me as a one-term president, but it's really the work that I did, he said, at the Carter Center, his nonprofit that he launched in his post-presidency that he wanted to be remembered for.
100%. That dude was so many things. You know, somebody was mad at us because of a joke, actually, that the Babylon Bee made, not Bell or I. They're like, you're being disrespectful. No, he was first and foremost a Christian, a husband, an American, a humanitarian. He was all of those things. You don't like his politics. You don't. And, you know, I've heard a lot of people hammer his politics. No, he definitely struggled. He struggled in the face of diversity. He was paralysis by analysis in many ways. He made some really bad decisions, and the struggle was magnified by the fact that, you know, as we exited from Vietnam to the horrors of our people being held hostage, to the chaos that went on throughout the Middle East, and he struggled at a lot of stuff, and inflation was just the oil. It was just so bad. He didn't handle things coming at him in the way that he should have, the way that you think a lot of people under pressure perform in a much different way. He struggled with that. But as a human being and as an American, yes, absolutely. That guy lived one of those exemplary lives that all of us should want to lead. I mean, he's the first president that we had that was born in a hospital. Think about that. Old Jimmy, peanut farmer, got into state politics, eventually became the governor. People still didn't know who he was. But a wonderful human being. And even if he would have had 2 successful terms, I can almost guarantee you the things that mattered most to him was how he lived his life outside of being president. Habitat for Humanity. The wanting to eradicate some of these things like the horrors of the guinea worm, which is horrible, by the way. He was an amazing human being. Politics, unfortunately, in today's world, it's politics. People come out, you know, oh, he was this, he was that. Yeah, he was a lot of things, and he would readily admit he struggled. But that being said, shouldn't downplay the fact that he was an amazing human being and an American treasure. And the Habitat for Humanity is like, it's incredible. The stuff that he did is incredible.
And it's stuff he did. He didn't ask the government to do it.
No.
He picked up a hammer and he went and he built houses.
He did. He did. He did it. And it was, like I said, it was awesome. The things that he did after his presidency. And I've yet to hear anybody say, well, you know, no, after his presidency is when you saw who the real man was. And he was an amazing guy. And God bless him. He was married for 77 years to the same woman. And just, I mean, again, one of those lives where you look and you say, I would take a life like that every day. Absolutely. And yeah, the struggles with his presidency, well known. And from Operation Eagle Claw that failed trying to rescue the hostages in Iran to several other things, they were so glaring.
I do want to say one thing, though, and it's slightly off subject, but I really hate Amy Carter.
Yeah, she was an odd bird.
She got to meet ABBA at the White House on the 79 tour. I get nothing. Amy Carter needs to go.
You know who else they had play at the White House?
Who?
The Carpenters.
Oh, that's right.
When they were the biggest.
About that.
And she was playing drums
just
at the
before
time.
she died, wasn't it?
I don't know. It was like 81, 82, but she played the drums then. She was rocking it. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
When did she die?
No, 81 would have been Reagan's, so it had to be.
I mean, 80 or 79 or 80 was the Christmas. It was like maybe the last But she was, I don't know when she died. Old Karen from Downey, California.
Let's check.
But she was hungry. And is that wrong? Too
soon, man. Too
soon, for God's sakes. Talk about, like, he was an interesting character. Elvis called him. And he really wanted to talk to Elvis, but apparently Elvis was so drunk he couldn't understand anything he had to say.
February 4th of 83 was her when she had her heart attack.
Yeah, she was it was a shame. Talk about just a superstar. Absolutely so. But God bless Jimmy Carter. And again, all of us should want to lead a life like that. Just fantastic life. Tomorrow night is New Year's Eve. Don't be an idiot. That's we're saying that. That's our PSA for the day. Don't drink and drive. And I would say this. I would feel a little uncomfortable in big crowd situations.
While there are no credible threats, police are mindful of the Christmas market attack in Germany. Authorities are also seeing an uptick in ISIS propaganda online that focuses on attacking Christians and the holiday season. Thousands of officers are going to be on duty. The NYPD will deploy drones and dogs and helicopters to watch over the crowd.
Man, it's I've been to look, and I think at this time it's just weird. We saw what happened, which was an odd thing because I thought it was terrorism, and it was weird. It was a guy in Germany who ran into those people who used to be Muslim, now couldn't stand the Muslim people, and wanted the Germans to take the fear of their encroaching in the German world and in the Western world seriously. So to get it was just a wackadoo thing. And they warned, by the way, Saudi Arabia had warned Germany on numerous occasions about this guy, and they did nothing. But I do have a fear that we're going to see some stuff this year. And tomorrow night, what is it, Ken? We're expecting 200,000 people. Where are we expecting most of those people to be?
That'll be Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park, downtown. That's a little bit north of here by a couple of miles.
So what time's all the festivities start?
Looks like at 5 o'clock. Okay. You can, Mayor Freddie O'Connell's going to start welcoming folks in.
Oh, is he? So you can talk about his train that costs way too much?
I don't know.
Trains are stupid.
No, it doesn't cost anything,
It's
man.
$1.
It's 0.5%. It does nothing.
Yeah, gates open at 5 with Mayor Freddie O'Connell welcoming the crowd at 5:55.
You have my permission to boo him just on that. Don't know the guy.
Freddie's a great guy.
He probably is, but
I'm not a fan of his politics, but he's a good guy.
Choo-choo trains are the worst thing in the world. They're job and money grabs. They ruin the neighborhoods around there, if the businesses, as they dig up for days. It is just silly. And take it from a guy who left California when they were going to put in a high-speed rail that was supposed to be $10 billion. We're well over the $100 billion range, and they've not built anything. So they never work. Ever. Just pointing that out to you. A lot of stuff still to get to. New Year's resolutions, bunch of other stuff. Some of you chiming in on the text line. We'll get to that as well. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Raycon's best earbuds around. I wear my Raycons every single day. Bell's got Raycons
and I'm
now.
going to be wearing mine every single day, too. I got some now.
That's right. So, ringing in the new year. So, what are Raycons? Everyday earbuds are awesome. The fit, the feel, the comfort are second to none. The sound quality is incredible. Active noise cancellation, 32 hours of battery life, 8 hours of talk time. We're talking about stuff that premium audio brands that you would spend so much money to get. Not anymore. Not with Raycons. You get a 30-day happiness guarantee. And 2025, right? You're getting you ready. You're making your New Year's resolutions. Want to get out there, start working out. These are perfect for that. They're weather and sweat resistant, active noise cancellation. They've got awareness mode so you can hear what's going on around you. They've got isolation mode so you can hyper-focus on what's in front of you. And again, the noise cancellation where it sounds like this, which is awesome. They're the everyday earbuds from Raycon. Your perfect gym buddy, your perfect workout buddy, just perfect audio for you. Save big. 15% off site-wide right now. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad today. That's buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad.
Voting is later this week once everybody's sworn in, and President-elect Trump is urging Republicans keep Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. 40,000 people right now at Nissan Stadium getting ready for the big Music City Bowl. Going to be a lot going on in Nashville. We'll tell you what police have planned coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It was very disturbing to learn late in the year about just how how poor his health has become. And like many, I did not realize that it had gotten to that point. That being said, I think he showed up for the job. He got the work done. I think some of the accomplishments also in the Middle East and foreign policy will also stand the test of time.
You think the Middle East is in better shape today than when he took office?
Well, I think he got our hostages home. I think that's a big deal. I think it's important.
I'm sorry, which hostages?
He's gotten a number of people home. He was able.
There's still 100 people over there.
Well, there were more than
including some Americans. Look, I think he's gonna leave office in disgrace.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, 40% of his presidency was vacation, and arguably the most underreported story, because not only does it not fit a narrative that the left wanted in the media, they were complicit in it. And the ones that did know didn't report, and the ones that didn't know didn't want to know. Nobody was curious. You know, I always had this thought that I don't care if you lean left or right. If there is a story that is absolutely world-changing, the Watergate type of story, you're going to throw aside your biases. You're going to throw aside your political, dreams of your side being in power because you want to break something. And we didn't have that. That, to me, is the saddest and yet most fascinating side of the whole Biden thing. Because the world saw it. Everybody could see it. Because everybody has somebody who's got a grandmother, a father, whatever, who has gone through something like that. And everybody recognized what was going on. Everybody did. And yet you ignored it. You ignored it. And you had opportunities. And oh, man, I should have pushed harder. I should have asked more questions, because you were so indoctrinated in your own mind that the only thing that the right would ever say about anything is a lie. It's a lie. It's got to be a lie. He's not. It's Russian disinformation. No. You weren't curious. That should be the number one thing about being a journalist, is being curious. I'm curious about why this is the way it is, investigating into something, but you didn't want to know. And that right there is so bizarre. You didn't want to know what should have been a story that you could have broken, as if it wasn't going to break, as if this wasn't going to happen. My goodness me. How could you not want to find out what was going on? I'm just fascinated by that. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But first, we got burglaries. And man, is it bizarre, the burglaries we have going on when it comes to athletes and celebrities.
Dallas Mavericks point guard Luka Doncic's home was broken into Friday during his team's road trip. Burglars allegedly taking jewelry valued at $30,000. The NFL, NBA, and NHL all warning its players of a South American crime syndicate, saying skilled criminals are increasingly targeting athletes' homes on game days. Authorities are warning that these criminals are going as far as using drones and signal jamming technology.
Which is insane, but think about it. You've got a house that has a star's stuff inside of it. And you know the star has a lot of things. He's not walking around with a Rolex. He probably has several Audemars Piguets and you name it. I'm a watch guy. So right there's that. You know there's probably cash in there. And you know he's not home because his schedule is everywhere. So you rob him. And we were talking earlier, they got Kelsey early. And my first thought is, of all the places, you figured Kelsey would be completely protected because of Taylor Swift. No, she wasn't there. He wasn't there. But because you're dating her. Right? Would you say you have to sign an NDA even to go out with her?
Yeah, if you work or have any kind of a relationship with her, personal or otherwise, you're signing an NDA.
Yeah. So you would think just from that alone that you would double up on the security. I'm surprised she didn't make sure there was extra security because I could have left something there of value. It's crazy. They're coming, though. And what are they? Sophisticated? Yeah, absolutely. But they are from where? South America? Well, they better go big now because they could be out of a job soon once Trump gets in charge. And because robbing malls now in certain places is tough to do because they're asking you not to do it or they're going to put you in jail, which is crazy as well. A lot of stuff we're going to squeeze into. Just 2 days away from the new year, and then starting the 2nd, we hit the ground running big time. This is our soft opening, and we hope you've enjoyed it. But, man, wait till the 2nd comes because we got a lot of crazy stuff and fun stuff we're going to do. This is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Well, voting is later this week, and President-elect Trump's urging Republicans to keep Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. Mary Alice Park says Johnson ran afoul of many in his own party during the government shutdown showdown over spending, and he can afford to lose only 1 or 2 Republican votes.
Of course, we know that some people close to Trump, Steve Bannon, I'm thinking about last week, actually advocated for Johnson not to be reelected, not to win his gavel back. And it'll be interesting to see if Trump's endorsement actually moves some of the people who were on the fence.
Right now in Nashville, an estimated 40,000 fans at Nissan Stadium for today's Music City Bowl featuring Iowa and Missouri. There will be 200,000 people tomorrow night at Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park for the free concert headlined by Keith Urban to bring in the new year. Metro Police say hundreds of officers going to be highly visible. Party goers will swarm Times Square in New York City for New Year's Eve, and NYPD today vowed they're going to be on alert. Aaron Katursky with more.
While there are no credible threats, police are mindful of the Christmas market attack in Germany. Authorities are also seeing an uptick in ISIS propaganda online that focuses on attacking Christians and the holiday season. Thousands of officers are going to be on duty. The NYPD will deploy drones and dogs and helicopters to watch over the crowd.
South Korean officials working to determine the cause of that devastating Jeju airplane crash that killed 179 people, including reports of a bird strike moments before the descent from the pilots. Sam Sweeney with more about what other questions remain in this investigation.
We should note that there are tens of thousands of bird strikes in the United States on aircraft, many of them into the engines. These airplanes can fly on one engine. Now we need to understand through the black boxes why these pilots landed so quickly and landed with the gear up and not using their flaps, their spoilers, or reverse thrusters to slow down the plane.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's good, solid music right there. A couple days away. New year. New you. Right? How many times you hear that? This is the year, guys. This is the year I'm going to lose the weight, guys. This is the year I'm going to get fit. This is the year I'm going to change it all. This is the year.
This is the year I'm sitting on the couch and watching TV. Even
Maybe you should go
more.
the opposite. This is the year I totally give up. This is the year I quit everything. By that, I mean just anything, right? I'm not trying anymore. I quit. I never want to date. I'm going to eat anything I want. This is the year I get gross. Right? This is the year I get so fat I can't see my feet.
I just want to fall apart here. That's so funny.
This is it. I give up. I quit. I don't care. This is the year. This is the year I get gross. Or don't. Make plans. Stick to them. And don't be ridiculous. You know, they were funny. I heard Ken in there making fun of the vision board. I have vision boards. They work. They're awesome.
The process of going through and making a vision board is so helpful when it comes to really focusing on what your goals are. What do I want that end goal to really look like for me? What do I want my life to look like 1 year from now?
I am a huge believer in this. Always have been. We have our prayer bingo board. We have our vision boards. Because it is, I think it's, people don't realize it's about having a plan, right? That's the number one thing. And one thing I've noticed through the years, people overestimate where they'll be in 1 year, and they underestimate where they can be in 5. Right? I want to be a billionaire by next year. And I want to look like David Beckham, right? Let's also temper with reality. But they underestimate where they can be. But there's ways of going about doing things. And like I said, I'm a huge believer in this. Like, even since I was a kid, I've always believed these things. And I say my prayers. I absolutely have vision boards of things that I've always wanted to do, places I've wanted to go, right? And the thing is, it's having a plan with those things, okay? And you'll find out on the show, we like to do different things. And one of those is getting you the help that all of us need when it comes to figuring out how do we achieve certain things, right? Like, that's a big deal. How can we get some of these things?
Let's think about behaviors, right? And so often we have these goals going into the new year about losing weight or getting fitter. And let's face it, a lot of the times if you ask why that's your goal, it has to do with something I call ego versus heart. We often say, I want to feel more confident because, I look better, or I want to feel better in pictures. But all of that comes from other people and what we think they think about us. And so before setting any goal this year, I want us to be thinking about what do we want and why do we want it?
That's a big deal. What do you want? What is the thing you want? Like, if you're setting a goal, like, what's the real reason? Like, is it because, hey, you know what, Chad? I want to be around for my kids. I want to be healthier for me. Like, not to look good in pants, not to look good in pictures, but like, I want to do it for me. That's a big deal. Because the ego thing is right. That's why people quit, right? Because part of the ego is we want, in a world of instantaneousness, we want it now. I started working out last Tuesday. Here it is Friday. I don't have a six-pack yet.
Because what we want is one thing, but why we want it is another. And all of our behaviors, like you said, are based on something to gain or to avoid. And if we're just trying to avoid feeling bad about ourselves, we're not going to stick with something. Let's face it. If we say that I want to lose 40 pounds. Well, on a stressful day when it's like after work and you have chocolate cake sitting in your house, you're going to say, I'm not going to lose 40 pounds by tomorrow. So I'm just going to eat the chocolate cake today.
Oh, so true. Again, I'm telling you guys, it's important, right? It is. You got to have the vision. And the whole thing about vision and stuff is having a plan. Like, what do I want to do? What are my goals? How do I set these goals? And it's funny because I'll hear a lot of people, they'll text, oh, it's stupid, this, that, and the other. Well, it works for a lot of people who are super successful. There are things to have. If you fail to plan to fail. It's no different. And the why is so important in some of this. Why are you getting healthy? Why do you want to make more money? Why do you want to, well, that's silly. I want to make more money so I can have better things. But why? Like, what's it? Is it just to be able to buy something fun? Or are you looking to do other things? It's about putting yourself in that position to think about, okay, there's more to it than just wanting to look good or to be able to buy cool stuff.
Our why and our goal has to be something so much bigger, so much deeper. I know for me, I want to be able to kick a soccer ball with my great-grandkids when I'm in my 80s and 90s. I want to be able to get up off the floor by myself if I fall. And I will not require my kids to have to take care of me when I am older.
Those are great whys. Like, I want to be able, how many of us listening right now? Like, I'm 54. Like, I don't want to sneeze and throw my back out. I don't want to wake up from a nap and go, I can't move my shoulder. How many of you listening have gotten to that point where it's like, oh my God, my neck is pinched? Look at Ken's looking into me.
Dude, I've pulled a muscle reaching for a coffee cup.
Yeah. Like, isn't that crazy? I don't want to be that. And that can happen to anybody, but you notice when it gets older, it happens to you a lot more.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's crazy. The why is I don't want to be that way, right? Like, for myself. And it's all about you. It sounds selfish, but that's what you got to do. And this lady, this is what she does for a living. And this is her thing. She investigates the whys. It's all about psychological behavior.
Okay, I actually have 3 questions I need you to ask yourself before you decide what you're going to do this year. You need that big why, right? Because that's going to ground you when things get tough. But you also have to be doing the things that are actually going to allow your body to thrive. So I have 3 questions for you. The first is what you are doing based in science designed for your body to thrive. I'll ask this. What thrives in a deficit? Like, name one thing. Nothing. Right? So why do we think our bodies are going to thrive in a deficit? They aren't. We need the right amount of foods. We need to be listening to our body. We can't be sitting at this deficit all the time. And so while diets are often based in science, they're actually designed for us to lose a little bit of weight at first, but only to feel that deprivation, and our body doesn't like that. So then we fall off the wagon.
We don't want to fall off the wagon. And I tell you what, like, that's the one of the great things, like when I listen to her, and she's her name's Kelly Lupedley. This is what she does, the why behaviors in life, and behavioral is, and I love the psychology of it all, is the why, but having a real idea of like, okay, I want to lose 40 pounds by the end of the year. How do I do it? Well, that's like 3 pounds a month. That's not a lot. If you were to break it down, it's like, okay, I've got to lose, I got to be at like 100 calories or 200 calorie deficit a day. If I eat 2,200 calories, you know what? Maybe I eat 2,000. If I get a burger, I don't get fries, right? Maybe I have water instead of Diet Coke or Coke. Little things that can go a long way. And it matters. But it's small things that matter, like small. And the why, though, again, is so important, because if your doctor tells you tomorrow that if you don't start eating better, you're going to drop dead within the next X amount of months, what do you bet you start eating better? Well, that's the why. Why? Because I have to. That's a have to thing. But if you're like, well, I'm only going to start doing this because I want to look better in pictures and selfies, that's not, that's not a good why.
The second question is, would we let our kids do what we're doing? And if we wouldn't let our kids do what we're doing, we have to really ask why we're doing it. 1, because our bodies are pretty much physiologically the same. But 2, what are we modeling for our kids if we're doing things that we know isn't actually healthy? And then 3, can we do what we are doing for a lifetime? So many people want these quick fixes or get super motivated right now. But if it's not something you can do forever, like if you want to do keto and you know you're never going to want a quesadilla or birthday cake again, okay.
First of all, if you never want a quesadilla again, we can't be friends. That's a sin. Cake, really? Oh, that's not living.
Okay, but I know that's not for me. So is what you're doing based on something you can do forever? Your body wants a relationship with you just like any other relationship. And relationships are built in trust. And trust comes from positive interactions consistently over time. So you need to be able to do something consistently over time.
It's that simple. Again, the why. Why? Somebody just texted in and said they quit smoking after their son's wedding. Why? Because they wanted to be around to see their grandkids. They wanted to be around for the future. because they're people they love and they want to see them. And that was important. It's the important side of things. And everybody wants a quick fix. But the whole thing about what can you do for life is so important. And one of the things I find fascinating is the whole keto thing is just bizarre. Like, because I see people eat this. Like, if that's your job, I guess. But is that living? Nah, it's not living. It's denying you certain things. Like good stuff, fun stuff. But we've got to, it's just finding the right balance. And eating a little bit better, working out a little bit more. If you want to lose weight, that's a great thing. Maybe if you want to make more money, figure out how can I take steps to better myself, to get myself in a position where I can start to earn more money by adding something here, going to a class there, doing the little things and paying down this. And it's little things. But if you want to do it overnight, and that's the problem so much in our culture, is we want stuff overnight. And that's the failure of it. Because people, we live in a now world. And unfortunately, everybody wants to look like so-and-so. Everybody wants to have the money so-and-so does. Everybody wants to do this. Nobody ever wants to put in the work it took to get to those places. Again, there will be a steady paycheck if you better yourself. Everybody's got a couple New Year's resolutions. What's your New Year's resolution? See, to me, I have my goals. You have any goals this year?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Is it to be gross?
No, it's to drink more.
My buddy who is Jewish joked around. He said, for Lent, I am going to not drink rum.
Let me guess, he doesn't drink rum.
He doesn't drink rum, but here's the thing. He goes, Chad, I drank more rum in a 30-day period than I'd ever drank it. I goes, you would have thought I was a pirate. Because I denied myself it. So then I wanted it. And then everywhere I went, people started giving it to him. But have a plan. It's that simple. These are little things. Kids, we're here to help. That's what we do. This is what it's all about here on the Chad Benson Show. We're going to deliver you news. We're going to deliver you all this stuff. We're going to here to help you as well. Have that plan. Your New Year's resolution, don't make it a resolution. Make it a plan. What are you going to do? Love hearing from all of you. You can text the program. Love hearing from you there. Also, check me out at Chad Benson Show. That is Instagram. That is Twitter. Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube as well on the Facebook. And then, of course, download the podcast. Grab all of our stuff right here on Super Talk 99.7. My Pillow has deep discounts on the My Pillow right now. Now you're thinking to yourself, okay, Chad, what are you talking about? Well, the classic My Pillow. It's the lowest price it has ever been. $14.88. $14.88. You can get it in different sizes. So if you want one stuffed full of the patented My Fill, you got it. If you want one that doesn't have a ton of it, you've got it. Top of that, they've got mattress toppers on sale, cheap right now. They've got the incredible slippers. The My slippers are amazing. The sandals are incredible. Everything you could think of when it comes to My Pillow. The dog beds, which are awesome. They've also got sheets and towels, but the classic My Pillow, the thing that started everything, on sale at the lowest price ever. Go to mypillow.com/Benson. You get a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty right now. Take advantage of this. $14.88, limit 10 right now. Go to mypillow.com/Benson. Use code Benson. Mypillow.com. Use code Benson.
A class action lawsuit seeks refunds for Nashville homeowners. This story and more coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
They're looking at the black boxes, although they were partially damaged. We do know that it could take weeks before we get any kind of result on that. There will be some time, and it is an agonizing wait for the relatives. A lot of frustration over what exactly went wrong, and they will be demanding answers very soon.
Again, this whole thing with that plane is so bizarre because birds hit planes all the time. And you've got big engines. You can fly on one engine. I'm feeling that something happened to that engine that caused a short, unless it was human error. There was a panic. Trust me, you don't want panic on an airplane. Like, if your pilot's terrified, that's the worst thing ever. They should only be thinking about, how do I land this? And the fact that they landed halfway down the runway with no gear makes me think there was stuff that was beyond their power of pilots. And maybe they thought that thing at the end of the runway that they hit was going to somehow stop them, but not cause the explosion. Because that's what killed them. They were all alive when they hit the ground. And that was it. It was over. Like, that fast. I mean, and to think about the horror of what was going on. And, some of you texted me earlier about, the videos and stuff, because we see all this stuff now. That's the thing that's insane, is we see these things. People will stream these things. People will film this stuff, and they're gathering all the information. It's not just about the black boxes, but what happened that caused them to not be able to get on the runway with their landing gear open. And why was it halfway down the runway? If he would have landed, a quarter of a mile down further, would that have caused the explosion? Probably not that way. I mean, that was the thing. Because when you watch it, unfortunately, it's everywhere. That hit, boom. But the bird side of stuff, that's what was it, the birds? It was the birds. Birds hit planes all the time. And pilots will tell you that. Lightning hits planes all the time. But what that happened there just is again, a mystery. And you lost 179 people. My name's Chad Benson. A lot of stuff to get to next hour. Some weight loss stuff. Talk a little bit about that. A bunch of other stuff. More on Jimmy Carter's passing. And if you miss any of this, shame. Grab the podcast. Please, if you do, it is the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got a crash blocking the left shoulder, going to be 24 downtown westbound, right there at the 65 north split. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Voting later this week, and President-elect Trump is urging Republicans to keep Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. Mary Alice Park says Johnson ran afoul of many in his own party during the government shutdown showdown over spending, and he can afford to lose only 1 or 2 Republican votes.
Because they weren't necessarily people that were worried about whether Trump had his back. They were people that were frustrated about big spending, frustrated that Johnson actually went along with Trump's proposal to get rid of the debt limit, expand U.S. borrowing. These are real kind of fiscal hawks.
Right now in Nashville, busy few days ahead. There are about 40,000 people watching the Music City Bowl at Nissan Stadium between Iowa and Missouri. The Hawkeyes, by the way, taking an early 6-0 lead. Tomorrow night, there will be 200,000 people at Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park for the free concert headlined by Keith Urban to ring in the new year. Metro Police say expect to see hundreds of officers. They're going to be highly visible, and they say if you see something, say something. In New York City, the NYPD putting together their final prep for tomorrow's New Year's Eve celebration in Times Square. Aaron Katursky.
Times Square is getting all decked out for New Year's Eve, and along with the gleaming crystal ball, confetti, and lights, there are metal fences and concrete barriers and security checkpoints. And while there are no credible threats, police are mindful of the Christmas market attack in Germany. The NYPD saying the incident is a reminder that vehicle ramming remains an attractive tactic for a range of malicious actors.
Here in Nashville, a class action lawsuit seeks refunds for some Nashville homeowners. The Beacon Center accusing Metro of taking advantage of homeowners who want to improve their property or build new property by charging them what it calls extortionate stormwater capacity fees. This lawsuit seeks to force Nashville to pay these homeowners back. A woman died last night trying to warn motorists about a crash blocking the right lane of I-40 at Old Hickory Boulevard. Metro Police say 64-year-old Arbedelia Richardson was waving a flashlight when she was struck by another motorist. That driver told police he didn't see her until it was too late. Police said there did not appear to be any impairment involved at the scene. And South Korean officials have now sent off the black boxes from the devastating Jeju airplane crash that try and find what occurred in the moments before the plane crashed. Here's Sam Sweeney on a bit more of what they hope to learn.
We need to understand through the black boxes why these pilots landed so quickly and landed with the gear up and not using their flaps, their spoilers, or reverse thrusters to slow down the plane. They came in at a high rate of speed and landed on the end, nearly the end of a 2-mile runway with not much room to spare, and that's what investigators are going to focus on.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Fail. You get an F, media. You get an F. Watching some of the programs this weekend as they are all talking about what was the big story of the year? What was the swing and the miss? Where did you swing and miss? And it made me laugh. They're like, well, we really missed it when it came to Biden.
And, you know, we really didn't cover it the way we should have covered it.
What are you talking about? You failed. A story you should have broke years before. By the way, this wasn't one of those things where it was like, well, he started struggling in, March of last year. It wasn't that. It was, oh, by the way, he's lost his blanking mind, can't find his way around the place, and you guys ignored it. You guys absolutely ignored it.
One of the things we also do in the year-end correspondence roundtable is dig into what was undercovered or underreported. Jan?
Undercovered, underreported. That would be, to me, Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline that became undeniable in the televised debate.
At the presidential debate with Donald Trump.
Unquestioned. And, you know, it's starting to emerge now that his advisors kind of managed his limitations. It's been reported in the Wall Street Journal for 4 years, and yet he insisted that he could still run for president. We should have much more forcefully questioned whether he was fit for office for another 4 years, which could have led to a primary for the Democrats. It could have changed the scope of the entire election. Yet, still, incredibly, we read in the Washington Post that his advisors are saying that he regrets that he dropped out of the race. You know, that he thinks he could have beaten Trump. And I think that is either delusional or they're gaslighting.
President Biden has said repeatedly he was sick during the debate June 27th in Atlanta, and he's always been fine, and he leaves fine.
He wasn't sick with a flu. He had dementia or Alzheimer's. That's right. Absolutely, except for the part where, you know, it's true. You had the opportunity to break stories that are earth-shattering. We know who Woodward and Bernstein. Can you tell me anything else they've ever done, ever? Anyone? No. We know who they are because of Watergate. We know who they are because they found something, they dug, and they went in. You didn't underreport it. There were two things that happened here. You knew and you didn't want to report it because you hate Trump so much that the thought process of him being president of the United States of America again would destroy the world in your mind. Take away democracy forever, Chad. You just don't get it. Okay, whatever. You're a nut. Or you didn't want to know. So, plausible deniability. I didn't want to know. It's embarrassing. You're not a journalist. I don't care. If I was a journalist, and I'm not, but if I was a journalist, even if I had something on Donald Trump, if I had something on Ronald Reagan, if I had something on any president, even if I believe in their politics, my job is to report. My job is to get out there and report, and I would dig and I would find. If there was something, why wouldn't you? You wonder why nobody trusts you? This is why nobody trusts you. So if you guys are new to the show, I'm here at noon till 3 every day. So I was talking to my producers on my other show. I said, guys, trying to figure out when I started saying that he was never going to run again because of what people who I know are working, they've worked through several administrations in the White House said. And I said, you guys have no idea how bad he is. You guys, going back to July of 2022, I was saying he's never going to run again. He's not what you guys think. He's falling apart. I got absolutely hammered by a lot of people over and over again. Then it became more and more evident. You didn't want to know, or your hatred of Trump and your derangement was such that you felt you had to be part of something. And you wonder why nobody believes you. It wasn't just face the nation, meet the people, people of the press and whatnot. It was everybody talking about it.
Well, I think the biggest loser to playoff stuff is Democratic Party is the media. Same thing. Sorry to repeat myself. They covered up for Biden's mental acuity decline. They covered up on the Hunter Biden laptop. Facebook and other social media covered up on the New York Post story about the Hunter Biden laptop. The 51 intelligence agencies who the Russia thing signed off saying it was true. The media followed all of this. And I think it's a disgrace to the profession that I've been a part of for a half a century. And I wish that we get some new blood in the media to actually practice journalism instead of practicing politics. Now, my winner is outgoing Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, a true independent who puts his country first, his party second, and himself third. I think he's gone out with great class and dignity, and I salute him for that. I wish we had more of him. Maybe it will cause me to rethink my position on cloning.
I love Manchin. I love Kirsten Sinema. They did their own thing. They weren't afraid to go against their own party, and sometimes you need a lot of that, a little kick in the pants every once in a while. Gets people paying attention. There was no journalism. And there isn't. And part of that is the fact that journalism doesn't pay. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't. I have friends who are journalists, and they'll tell me all the time, man, there's no money in it. There's no money in just reporting the news. There isn't. The only way you get ahead and is you have to have more than just opinion. So people lean into a niche that they think they have, and for all of them, they're all leaning to the left. But they're telling me all the time, I get paid via clicks, shares, views, likes. That's tough. So they have to write certain things that they know they get. It was a cover-up big time. But the fact that nobody, because even if you're on the left, for God's sakes, breaking a story like this, oh, you maybe not want to be championed by the right. Okay, that's fine. I get that. But you shouldn't be championed by any of them. You should be applauded for doing the job of being a journalist, of digging in. The whole thought, when you go back and watch any of these old movies about journalism, what is it about? I'm going to go after the man. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to go after the establishment. I'm going to go. That's the whole thing. Breaking stories, whether it was, the tobacco industry, the Pinto. Remember the Pinto? The explosions? Breaking stories like that. Going deep, finding stuff out. But the politics changed all that. Should have been the number one thing. The cover-up. So for journalism, that's where you failed. For the nation, the cover-up of a man who was in such mental decline that he could never hold a press conference. And if he did, it had to be at a specific time, like maybe between this and this, Why? Because he has sundowners. And everybody knew it. That unelected officials, the worry of, look at Elon and look what he's doing. Elon's not running anything. Oh, he's going to have a say. There's no doubt he's going to have a bit of an ear and some stuff with Trump. But I'm telling you guys now, I think this thing is, I said it a couple weeks ago, and many of you hammer me. I think this battle is, you got two men with big egos. It's going to be interesting to watch. But while the media is running around saying that, nobody's going, but by the way, there's a guy that was on vacation 40% of the time because the best way to do his job is with him not around. Because we're going to have to do his job. We're going to have to run cover. We're going to have to make it seem like he's so busy. So not only were they lying to you, they weren't curious, but then they're trying to tell you, Vivek and Elon are going to have this huge influence over Trump and all of this stuff, and we can't have that. Unelected officials? I agree. I mean, it's good that we're going to get their input. At the end of the day, though, the buck stops with Trump. We have unelected officials that have been running things for God knows how long, and nobody was curious about it. Nobody was curious that if China made a move on Taiwan, that Joe Biden might have woken up and go, give me Chiang Kai-shek on the phone. I want to see what he's doing over there. Nobody was curious about that. Nobody was curious about who was running things behind the scenes until it was so evident. Journalism failed in a major way this year, but it was twofold. You gaslit America and said that all these people that Trump hangs out with are evil and bad, et cetera, et cetera. We can go on and on. I'm not going to rehash and relitigate that right now. And that he was going to steal democracy. All the while, democracy was never served with the likes of Biden after everybody knew he was gone. And nobody inside of the White House was willing to step forward. Oh, they will now because it's about the dough. Somebody, and I'm sure there's one or two that have already left and cut a fat deal for 7 figures where they're going to walk out and go, all right, let me tell you what really happened. He didn't know where he was half the time. He would tell me that Bo and him were having conversations. You're going to find that out later. And that guy was running our country. Yeah, shame. Shame in a major way. Speaking of presidents, we lost one over the weekend. Lived a hell of a life. There is no doubt about that.
He spent 44 years of his 100 years as a former president, the longest post-presidency in American history. That's where he really made his mark as a humanitarian.
And it's funny because Bell chimed in a little while ago. Even CNN's going, what he's going to be remembered for is not being president afterwards. Yeah, Jimmy Carter was an amazing human being. He was an American. He was a husband. He was a father. He was a Christian. He was a man of God who really was so many amazing things. And yes, he was a D- president. But he took the opportunity after he left being president and did something with it that's incredible. From Habitat to Humanity, Habitat for Humanity to all these other things. It was amazing what he did. And he should be championed for that. Yes, the presidential side of things, absolutely. It's real. It was there. We know. He failed. Okay, we're moving on. But if you look at the body of work, incredible.
In a proclamation issued overnight, President Biden set next Thursday, January 9th, as a national day of mourning. Here at home and at embassies all around the world, American flags will fly at half-staff for a month in memory of the late president. Public observances will be seen in Georgia, where Jimmy Carter served as governor, and here in Washington, where the military will give full honors to the former naval officer and commander-in-chief.
As he should. And he talked about the greatest thing he ever did, marrying his wife. 77 years they were together. So God rest his soul. And all that's left is Amy. How old's Amy? She's got to be as old as us, right?
She and I are maybe a year apart. Yeah. So she's mid-50s, late 50s.
Yeah, and you hate her, so that's weird.
Hey, she got to meet ABBA, and I didn't. I hold grudges.
Bell didn't get to meet ABBA, so he's angry. That would be awesome to meet ABBA, though. Which one of them's afraid to fly? Is it? It's one of the girls.
And yet to the blonde girl.
Yeah, she was terrified of flying.
Yeah.
So that was kind of one.
She's really neurotic about leaving her kids orphaned.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. I mean, I get it. It's a little different, but she. That was kind of one of the big things that besides the fact that they were all married and then broke up, but that was like one of the big issues with their touring and stuff. She just didn't want to fly, and flying is safe. I tell you.
Well, they all four hated the travel associated with it. I mean, none of them wanted to be on tour.
Well, not that much. I mean, that was a lot. I mean, you're a superstar band. Isn't it weird though that bands are like, let's be a band and we'll do all these things, and you're like, all right, all this stuff's happening. Like, I don't want to do these things anymore.
No, they were always about the studio over the road.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are. It's like being a comic. I mean, we'd all love to be a comic in one place and have people come to you, but that doesn't happen. That's all we're saying.
It ain't Vegas.
Yeah, it ain't Vegas, baby. That's where they'd be now, right? Like, that would be something to see. If they did a year in Vegas, what do you think they'd get?
Well, that's under negotiation.
I know they've talked about doing certain things.
Well, at some point, the show in the purpose-built auditorium in London is going to go on the road, and Vegas is one of the places it's going to go.
Be so cool though, just for 1 year though.
Oh, I'd be there in a heartbeat. I'd quit. I'd be like, you wouldn't let me have a day off. I'm going to go see.
Oh, you go. We'll all go. We'll do the show from there.
Yeah.
We'll do the show from there.
Yeah, maybe we'll interview him.
That is Bell, of course. This is the Chad Benson, the new Chad Benson Show, noon to 3 every single day. If you're missing any of the program, shame, grab the podcast right here on Super Talk 99.7. Rough greens. It's amazing. Now you're saying, Chad, okay, what is rough greens? All right, so imagine this. You and I, we were trying to get healthy. It's 2025. Maybe we're taking some supplements, some of that powdered stuff we put in our drink or something. This is that, but for your dog or cat. They have meow greens or rough greens. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff. And it's going to help your dogs and cats in different ways. First of all, for your dogs, maybe your dog's a little bit older, long in the tooth, as they would say. Struggle with aches and pains in their hips. They don't really move as good as they used to. Lethargy. This will help big time with that. Maybe your cat's got issues with the hair falling out, allergies, things of that nature. This will help with skin and fur. It is incredible what these things can do. Little things with rough greens goes a long way. I want you to try a Jumpstart trial bag for free. It is a $20 value. All they ask you to do, cover the cost of shipping. It's that simple. Go to ruffgreens.com. Use my code CHAD. It's that simple. Ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. When you do, you're going to save right there. They're going to give you a free bag, a $20 value. It's not going to cost you anything but shipping. Ruffgreens.com. Use code CHAD. Raycon, best earbuds around. I wear them every single day. She's got Belle a pair of them. They're incredible. So they're everyday earbuds. So earbuds, man, 2025, you're going to gym, you're going to walk, got all this New Year resolution. Taking premium audio with you at a price that won't break the bank. That's what these are all about. 8 hours of talk time. And I'm talking 8 hours of talk time, like talking, watching, doing all kinds of things. 34 hours of battery life. But it's the sound that matters, and it's premium. It's like nothing you've ever heard. You have got absolutely the most incredible sound, but you couple that with the fact that the fit is awesome, you've got the best around. They're called the Everyday Earbuds. Right now, you're going to save an extra 15% site-wide. Check out everything that Raycon has. But they've got active noise cancellation, which is super expensive. But here, you can pay under $100. They've got incredible, easy-to-use switch between isolation mode, awareness mode. So awesome. Belle's all like, hey, these things are talking to me. They are incredible. Try these things. You get a 30-day happiness guarantee. If you like premium audio, this is what it's all about. They're called Raycons. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save 15% right now. 30-day happiness guarantee. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad.
Prosecutors are charging 5 people in the death of One Direction star Liam Payne. This story and more at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Liam Payne. What would happen to him? What do we think we'll ever know? You figure with all of the cameras, somebody's got to see something, right?
Yeah.
Like you would think. So, I mean, obviously he had a lot of issues. His girlfriend left like the day before, too. Ugh. And then, of course,
that's not always an issue.
Yeah, well, they had a very spicy relationship. Let's just say that. They had a very spicy relationship. And then, of course, what's the first thing she does? She takes to social media. Oh, my God, I'm so upset. How do I look doing this? Oh, my God, I'm super upset.
Am I in the will?
Am I? My boyfriend, who I just broke up with, but I still loved, but he just, because it's about me. It's not about him. It's like, oh, my God. There's always one, though, right? Like, if you have a boy band, you can start going through, that's the star. That guy will be okay. He's funny. He may do other entertainment. This one's going to kind of fade into nothing, and you're going to be an issue.
Donnie Wahlberg will be the one going to prison.
Although he's turned out to be like a big actor.
Yeah, he's completely turned his life around compared to what it was when he was in the Backstreet Boys.
And he married
not
Crazy.
Backstreet, New Kids.
New Kids. He married Crazy, too.
It was bathroom scene in Sixth Sense.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. He's just, he is, it's funny because you look at Mark and then you look at him, you're like, his hair's all falling out.
I think Mark's had some plugs.
You think?
I think so. Because both... what's the brother's name that owns the Wahlburgers?
It's Donnie and Mark, and who's the other one?
I can't remember that brother's name, but that one is just as balding as Donnie is.
Yeah.
So, Mark has gotten some plugs somewhere.
You would think. Although, maybe Mark got all the stuff, right? Because Mark's yoked. Well, that guy, if you follow Mark Wahlberg, he's an interesting follow because he's always up at like 2 a.m. All right, what's going on, everybody? I just said my prayers, and now I'm going to work out for the next 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
But I'll put it on social media so you can watch.
That's it. By the way, I don't own a shirt except if I'm in the movies. And you know what? I have to be honest with you.
And then it's a costume.
If it was me and I look like that, I'd probably never wear a shirt.
Absolutely, man.
I would be here right now with no shirt on. Luckily, I have a shirt on.
To go from being kind of a laughingstock boy band member to being somebody that...
Well, he was always under them, right? Because he was Mark Wahlberg in the Funky Bunch.
No. I'm talking about Donnie. Donnie was member of New Kids.
He was always like the 47-year-old in New Kids on the Block.
I think they were all in their 20s, but it's going to end up being a situation that Mark is trying to lengthen his career as long as possible, and thinning hair don't lengthen your career in Hollywood. No, it doesn't. Although, he's managed to make quite a career, like out of everything. Like he's an actor. When's the last time it's like Will Smith, even before the slap. He's like, you were a rapper. Are you ever going to do like anything ever again? Nope.
And some guys, it's like comedy. It's like, it's like they get big and become stars and they never go on stage again.
I can guarantee you there is no one in radio that runs a radio station that is sitting there going, man, we need some new Donnie Wahlberg or we need some new Mark Wahlberg.
No. Well, Mark will never, because he's an actor now. He's an actor. He's a thespian, you see.
Well, and even Donnie, it's like, Donnie's on one of the biggest TV shows on television.
Was
Blue Bloods.
Blue Bloods? Didn't that just end?
Did it?
Yeah. That's
I know. What was it on for, like 12 years, though, or something?
Yeah,
13?
he was on forever, dude.
The guy got a job acting opposite of Tom Selleck, who's probably one of the best TV actors ever.
I know. It was. He was Magnum P.I. That's all you need to know. Magnum P.I., baby. It is the Chad Benson Show. If you're missing the show, grab the podcast. Happy Monday. We're so close to 2025. Woo! Super Talk 99.7.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Prosecutors in Argentina say 5 people are being charged in connection with the death of former One Direction star Liam Payne, the British singer falling to his death from the balcony of his hotel room in Buenos Aires in October. He was 31. Payne's manager, as well as that hotel's manager and its head of reception, have been charged with manslaughter. A hotel employee and a local waiter have been charged with supplying Payne with cocaine during his stay. Voting is later this week in our nation's capital. President-elect Trump urging Republicans to keep Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. Mary Alice Park says Johnson ran afoul of many in his own party during the government shutdown showdown over spending and can afford to lose only 1 or 2 Republican votes.
These are real kind of fiscal hawks who've been holding out on supporting Johnson. And so I'm not really sure whether Trump's endorsement is going to move them. So still a lot of questions hanging in the balance for this week.
Busy couple of days here in Nashville. You've got 40,000 people in Nissan Stadium for today's Music City Bowl between Iowa and Missouri. Then tomorrow, about 200,000 people expected to ring in the new year at Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park. That's where Keith Urban's going to headline a free concert ahead of the famed Red Music Note drop. Metro Police say they're going to have hundreds of officers highly visible to keep everyone safe. And in New York City,
the public can expect to see a tremendous amount of police resources deployed throughout the area and across the city.
Ads Commissioner Jessica Tisch says they're going to have additional officers, canines, helicopters, boats, and drones to monitor Times Square. As South Korean officials continue to piece together the timeline of that devastating Jeju air crash, the small number of survivors continue to recover, says Sam Sweeney.
There were 2 survivors. Both of them were flight attendants, a woman and a man, and they were sitting in the back of the airplane, which means they were near the tail. They were in their jump seats. They had their harness-style seatbelts on that went across their shoulders and across their laps, and their backs were facing the passengers. And if you look at the wreckage, the only part that is recognizable is the tail where they were sitting.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Let me tell you something. I am a guy who played a lot of sports, got to a high level in sports, was able to play in Europe, even at the lower levels, but still was amazing. But my knees are a hot mess. That's what I'm telling you guys. Whether it's your back or your knees, you got to take care of yourself. So I went and saw Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley. And let me tell you something. They've got stuff that is otherworldly. And take it from a guy who knows what back pain and knee pain can do to people and how it can just upset everything in your life. One place to go. It's the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And you go over there, you see them. First of all, you're going to walk in, you go, whoa, what is all this stuff? It's incredible. The way you get treated, second to none, which is awesome. And they're there to give you a real fix. He's never going to tell you, hey, you know what? You need back surgery, but don't do this. Let's try that. This guy is all that. Dr. Mitchell's awesome. So don't waste your time other places. If you've had issues before, or maybe in the past, and you thought you solved them, but you really didn't, it's time to go to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I want you to call them today. Tell them I sent you. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. Tell them I sent you today. Dr. Mitchell, Chad sent me. He's a soccer guy. He knows about the knees. He will help you. And check out all the cool stuff they can do for you. It is truly amazing. I'm telling you, it is otherworldly how awesome this is and how awesome they're going to treat you at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Call today, 615-246-5009. So, Speaker of the House, who will it be? Will it be Mike Johnson? Made up name. Or not? The debate that rages on. Why? Why does everybody hate Mike? First of all, can we just all admit, unless you've got a huge majority, being Speaker of the House is a tough job. Because you're never going to make everybody happy. Even if you do have a big majority, you're going to disappoint people. You're going to anger people. But at this point in time, they better figure out what they're going to do, and Trump is getting behind Mike Johnson.
As he presides over a razor-thin GOP majority that includes a number of outspoken skeptics, you might even call them dissidents, it's by no means a sure thing that the Speaker will hold on to the gavel. But the President-elect's endorsement could help. Donald Trump says on social media that Mike Johnson is, quote, a good, hard-working, religious man who will do the right thing. Trump urges House Republicans to, quote, not blow this great opportunity which we have been given.
And that's a big deal. Trump recognizes the importance of getting out of the blocks fast. Right? Like, you're not going to win everything when it comes to all the things you want to do immediately, but what you can do is lose your momentum and make everything harder than it needs to be, and in many cases, blow it up completely early on. You don't want that. You don't. And here's the other thing, nobody's ever going to want to be Speaker if you start blowing everybody out as Speaker. If they're terrified to do anything. But Chad, the money, yeah, I get it. Like, we would all like everybody to be a fiscal hawk. But Republicans, you lost that a long time ago. When you stopped being fiscal hawks, when you stopped being the kind of people that paid attention to this stuff, because you were just as excited about spending money as everybody else. So you blew that opportunity. And now you want to act like we're going to stand on this. For some of you, yeah, there's a few people out there that have been like that all along, but very few. Very few. And being Speaker is more than just I'm going to do this, and no, you've got to be everything to everybody. And you've also got to be the guy or the gal that is the king money raiser. That is the person that helps get everybody elected. You've got to be that person. But when you start off right now and you're like, we got a mandate, man. We got something in front of us. This is it. We got a mandate to do something. Let's do it. And you're like, let's blow it up. Let's handicap ourselves early on. Let's do it. No. Get yourself going. Don't rely on Trump to go in and to executive order everything and spend the next umpteen months with this stuff being in courts. You've got the opportunity to do things. Do it. And this if we don't get our way, we'll take nothing. That is not going to get you anywhere in life. Try that with your wife, your business. There are some, and I've said this, in negotiations, people recognize this. People understand negotiations. Because a lot of people that chime in, the negotiation side of things, they're fine walking away with 100% of nothing and then griping about it the whole time. There are must-haves and there are wants. These are the must-haves. Well, you're not going to get that. Well, these are our must-haves. Well, you're not going to get that. I'll give you 2 of your must-haves. You give us 2 of our must-haves. Okay. You're going to give us a couple of our wants. We'll give you 1 of your wants. Reagan used to say it all the time. Get what you can now, we'll get the rest later. Because he recognized it was not a sprint. It was a marathon. And if Trump and he's spelling it out to everybody, let's get this done. Let's get going. Because if it stalls at the beginning, right, like failure to launch, it's not something you want. And do I think that's going to happen? No, I think he'll probably be reelected. But living in that fear of being replaced at any given time, it just isn't. That's ridiculous. Because at this point in time, if we're just going to see, okay, this person's if we're just going to have a rotation of people, how's that going to look? Right? You want to have your stuff together. And this to me is if they blow him out and it only takes one or two, and finally it ends up being a joke. And you don't have to like him, right? You don't have to like a lot of his politics, but he's dealing with something that everybody thinks, well, so-and-so would be better. Well, so-and-so can run then. And then what happens to so-and-so? He's in the same place when he gets there and realizes, uh-oh, this isn't one I signed up for. I thought it was going to be a breeze. I thought Mike was an idiot. No, Mike wasn't an idiot. So-and-so, Kevin McCarthy wasn't an idiot. He was a great fundraiser and money raiser. But you get into that position and you start to realize you got to be everything to everybody. And until you have such a majority that you can poo-poo certain people inside of the party, right? Whether it's all MAGA and you can look at the old school conservatives and say, we don't need you, or vice versa, this is what's going to happen. And you don't want that, because that is not a helper for Trump to start off. It isn't. We're a couple days away from, 2025. Are you going to be participating in Dry January?
1 down, 29 to go.
Like Homer Simpson counting down his days without beer, many people are gearing up for a month-long booze-free challenge with Dry January. The concept of taking an alcohol-free month to start the year started in 2013 when the nonprofit organization Alcohol Change UK launched Dry January as a public health campaign. Their aim? To encourage people to reevaluate their drinking habits, especially right after the holiday season, and highlight potential benefits like better sleep, weight management, and improved mental clarity. Since then, the campaign has spread globally.
These are people who may want to use January to put a mirror up to their own relationship with alcohol, just to reflect. We're not anti-alcohol. We want everyone to have their own journey.
Your own journey. Can you do Dry January? And I say this because one of the things we talked about earlier is it's good to give yourself and your liver like a reset. And I don't drink. I've never had a drink in my life. I've never done a drug in my life. I'm a teetotaler, don't smoke. I'm very boring. I don't even like taking aspirin and stuff. I'm like, I'll just suffer through it. I've always been that way because I saw what drugs and alcohol could do to people in my family. And I wanted no part of that as a kid. It was the greatest teaching moment. My father, who passed away from a heart attack when he was 36, induced by cocaine and meth and everything else. It's like his 4th or 5th heart attack. I never wanted any part of any of that stuff. But I say this because it is good to give yourself a reset. And can you do it? And it's funny because you'll see a lot of people on, the social media world, the Joe Rogans and a bunch of these people, they'll go and do Dry January and they all talk about the same thing. Oh man, it's great. I feel better than I've ever felt. I lost all this weight. I got more energy and I can't wait to drink, which is bizarre.
Dr. Michael Caldwell is the Chief Medical Officer of Dry January USA and also a professor in public health at Meharry School of Global Health and Meharry Medical College. Recently, Dry January USA signed a licensing agreement with Alcohol Change UK to manage the Dry January trademark here stateside. They're pushing to make it a widely recognized movement, and it seems to be working. January 7th is now designated as the inaugural Dry January USA Day, complete with yellow illuminations across participating cities like Chicago and Nashville. While
starts the 7th, apparently. We got to get through the night. Like, if you're doing Dry January for real, when does it start? Does it start at midnight, or does it start when the sun comes up on the 1st? And can you do Dry January? I'm telling you, it is like all these things. It's fun for a challenge, but one of the things they talk about is like, if you have 5 or more drinks in a day, and you may have an issue. Like, we're talking hard drinks, but it's a great thing to think about. And I bring this up because one of the other things I want to talk about before I get out of here is the fact that I'm off tomorrow, and we really hit the ground on Thursday with the show in earnest. Like, this has been our soft opening. But a reminder, everybody, that's going to be going out there and having fun. Drinking and driving is the dumbest thing in the world. It is. It is ridiculous. And if you do it, I'm telling you, you are a-hole. That's it. That's the only way I can describe it. And it is horrific. Putting yourself and other people at risk. And you'll be forced into a dry lifetime if you don't pay attention. There are so many ways to get home anytime, but we talk about it because, as Bell pointed out, amateur hour is in full effect starting in, 24 hours. Don't do it. That's our PSA from the Chad Benson Show. Don't do it. Walk home. Thank you very much. Get an Uber, get a Lyft, hitchhike, whatever you get. Do people still hitchhike? Is that still a thing?
It beats driving drunk.
It does. Because from the selfish point of view, for you, if you do it and you get caught and you don't kill somebody or hurt somebody, it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. From the reality point of view, that if you do kill somebody, you've ruined people's lives as well as your own. So, just a little PSA from me to you. I lost a friend a couple years ago who was an amazing woman who didn't drive drunk, who took an Uber with her husband and did it right on New Year's Eve. She was hit at like 8 o'clock in the evening going to a place to have dinner. And she was killed instantly. Be smart. That's all we're saying. We're going to wrap it up. Like I see Matt out there. He's got a hat on today that is a baseball hat. Well, that's a little different. Normally he's got a ski cap on. Talk to him about what he's going to be doing. Wrap it up straight ahead. This is the Chad Benson Show at Super Talk 99.7. It's a party like no other. Times Square tomorrow night. Getting ready for it. I was saying earlier, man, I don't want to be in a crowd of people at this time.
Negative. I put up with crowds only in as much as it's something that I really, really, really want to do.
It would have to be something huge.
It's got to be borderline life-changing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we gathered. I mean, even in Nashville.
Yeah, 200,000
Bicentennial Mall.
200,000 tomorrow night, they're expecting.
I mean, they started this thing on Broadway. It got so big, they had to move it to the Bicentennial Mall. They moved, I think, isn't the game today? Isn't the football game today?
Iowa, Missouri.
And Ken, did they move you think they moved the football game, Ken, because they didn't want those two crowds intersecting, or maybe it's the construction going on? Because that used to be on New Year's Eve, right?
Could have been, yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, no.
But 200,000. Keith Urban, our new neighbor.
That's right. He was just in here the other day.
I know he's our new neighbor. You know that, right?
Yeah, but he was just in this building.
Oh yeah.
Bell ran him over.
No, I didn't run him over.
You did.
That's what he was short and that New Zealand was a better country.
I heard that you ran him over.
No.
You know who I heard that from?
Who?
Chad. He just said it.
Keith Urban.
He just said it a minute ago.
No, I did not run him over.
He just said it a second ago. There's a lot better caliber of cars in the parking lot next door than there ever have been since Keith Urban bought them. I just saw this badass
What's
Tesla
he turning it into?
Cybertruck. I think it's a studio.
That's it, huh? So he gonna have his own. Is he doing his own little record
He looked
studio?
at this. The rumor that I heard was he looked at this building to purchase this building, the building that we sit in.
And what would he have done with us?
Asked them to leave all the equipment.
Dispatched of us.
Oh, well, that wouldn't have been very nice.
Yeah, he would leave the studio pristine as it is, as a vintage antique studio.
Oh,
what's been going on, Chad? How
nothing,
are you,
man? Ready to rock and roll? New year.
Does
New
it not
you.
feel like it's already 2025?
It does. It feels. It's just very kind of like just let's get it over with.
Let's go.
Let's go. Like I feel like we're still tiptoeing around. I just want to get started.
Let's go. Let's make it happen.
What do you got on the big show today?
We're going to follow up with the H-1B stuff with Tim Burchett at 5:05. Congressman Burchett will give us an idea of where he is on that, plus where he is on the Speaker of the House race. I'm a chaos man.
Yeah.
I like to see the world burn. And so I love the chaos that ensued after some of the core MAGA supporters declared that Mike Johnson was not worthy.
Yeah.
To be Speaker of the House.
And then Trump comes out.
And now Trump comes out and
well,
says.
and I've said this. It's going to end up like being Speaker of the House can end up like some of these football teams. It's like you're going to fire so many people, nobody's ever going to want to work for you.
Well, what infuriates me, and I'll go off on I call it my rant pants. I'll put on my rant pants.
Oh, rant pants.
The same people that were demanding that Gates and some of the others oust McCarthy are now online saying McCarthy was better.
Yeah.
Well, who do you think was responsible for that then?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is, if you've got a 40-point lead as far as a head count, you can withstand win more elections. But let me tell you what's not going to help you win. Going and looking like a clown show.
All right. And this is the last thing that we need when you have to certify the presidency of the United States of America. And Gates actually said as much.
Yeah.
I mean, even Matt Gaetz understands. When Matt Gaetz gets that this is maybe not the time to draw a line in the sand.
And he loves doing that.
Maybe an indicator. So we'll start with that.
It was a lot of fun. Lots of Bigfoot talk as well, I'm sure. And, of course...
2 people died from Sasquatch.
They did. Sasquatch killed 2 people.
Yeah.
There's a great movie about Sasquatch and a virus starring Sam Elliott.
Really?
It is an amazing movie. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll tell you about it.
Harry and the Hendersons?
No, that was John Lithgow.
Different movie.
Nothing that has such Sasquatch and a virus in it is a very good anything.
It was a great movie. It was and again, Sam Elliott, he didn't do bad things.
Did great things.
Yeah, just great things. That's Matt. He's straight ahead. I'm Chad. You guys have a blessed day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Later.